Hi, everyone. My name is Jody. I am the Education and Events Manager at SCORE. And today I have Keith with Old Republic Home Protection, and Margaret with Fidelity Home Warranty. And they're both going to speak today about what's going on with their businesses and what they can do for your clients and for you during COVID, since everything has almost come to a standstill. One thing I do want to say is you can check out score.com/calendar. I'll put that in the chat. Check that out a few times a day. I'm constantly adding webinars. We've got some more that we're working on for next week, and you can register for those. If you do have questions, I encourage you to use the chat box at the bottom of your screen to type in any questions that you have. I'll be monitoring that during today's webinar, and as questions come up, I will ask those to Keith and Margaret. If you use the Q&A box, that works as well, but we prefer the chat box. At the end, if we have more time for questions, we may be able to take some live questions, and at that point you can raise your hand. So if there are hands raised, I'm going to lower them now, and we'll wait until the end if you want to ask your question live. Otherwise, you can go ahead and put it in the chat box. And I'm going to let Keith introduce himself first.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jody. Thank you for SCORE. Thank you for giving us this opportunity and platform to reach out to, obviously, our agent partners. Make sure we can answer any questions that you might have during this crisis. We're here to support you. So thank you very much. Again, Keith Bishop with Old Republic Home Protection.
And Margaret.
And I'm Margaret Faherty with Fidelity National Home Warranty. And again, thank you for inviting me to this panel. And we'll get through this. And Keith and I will have a bunch of good information to hopefully to pass along to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you both. So I think we're just going to jump right in. Margaret, we'll start with you. What has the transition been like for you guys, going from, I'm sure, working, face to face with most of your clients to now being virtual? What does that transition look like for you?
Well, we were deemed non-essential at first. Fidelity was. So the hard part was getting everybody scrambled out of the building in Concord to work out of their homes on laptops. So that took about 2 to 3 days. The company just worked in warp speed to get everybody up and running, because no matter what, we were essential on our end as reps because of customer service issues. So it was a real tricky thing, but we managed to do it. We've got manageable hours from 7 to 5 every day. So I don't believe we're open 24 hours. Don't quote me on that, but I believe we're open 7 to 5 every single day. We had to cut back a little bit, but other than that, we really didn't have too much of a glitch when all this was happening. We were scrambling.
And Keith?
Yeah, very similarly. Obviously, our office staff had to kind of migrate. The majority of them are all home-based now. And during that crisis, we were actually able to transition, because we do have a call center on the Midwest, in the Midwest, to be able to help field those calls as well. So we definitely picked up the pieces as quickly as we could. Hopefully nobody experienced too long of a wait or too long of a challenge. I myself have been available, talking to my agents, obviously working to make sure that we could field any calls as necessary and help with that. So yeah, there's definitely a transition. I mean, but honestly, since we are kind of in the digital age, I hope that our transition wasn't as critical or problematic as it would have been, say, 10 years ago, especially since we're here in the Bay Area, our corporate offices in San Ramon. So we're able to pick up the pieces as quickly as possible, hopefully not skip too many beats, and definitely be there for the plan holders, our agents, making sure that as they have transactions happen, that we're able to still be there, help facilitate and field those calls as quickly as possible. So we do appreciate the patience of everybody, from plan holders to, of course, our agent partners working with us, through this transition too. So I really applaud all of our agent partners, giving us that time. So I appreciate that.
And and has the process changed for existing plan holders to file claims? Since the call centers may have, you know, shorter hours and things like that, have you guys transitioned to online claims, or what has that look like? Keith, you want to start with that one?
Sure. Well, we have multiple platform for plan holders to make a claim, to place a claim, both online. So that didn't skip a beat. They could still place that claim online. And of course, when they call in, whether they have questions or whether they need assistance in some plan details, they can still do that. Maybe the hold times were a little bit longer, obviously, but they were still able to be taken care of on that respect. I would say that probably our biggest challenge, you know, and I think this is both myself and all of the home warranty organizations, is that getting the field personnel out there to take care of the claim is probably the more problematic issue. And, you know, maybe Margaret can speak of that a little bit more in regards to, I think that's where ultimately a lot of us have the challenge, is just making sure that we can get the contractors out to take care of the claims, because that's the most personable experience that people are going to deal with. You know, they can place a claim online, they can order a plan online or through the phone, but getting the actual service out there is probably the most critical part, which is where we come to work as home warranty representatives, is stepping in and making sure that we can take care of those claims as quickly as possible and mitigate that potential problem or failure for that client.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, it's a hit and miss, because these other companies that we work with are a third-party company. They're not employed by Fidelity, so they have the choice to service us, or, you know, in our area or not. And I'm only finding very little bit of a distance on that. Like a roofing company won't come down to the South Bay, so we just have to contract a different one. It's really a matter of communication with the client. So when they call in for a service, and if they're not getting it within the first 24 hours, to contact us so that we can get them help, because we're not aware that this, you know, this company might not be showing up, because they're also worried, and they have guidelines to follow. So we've got letters from our third-party people saying exactly what they're going to do when they do go to a home, the distancing, how they're going to clean up after themselves, and so forth. So I haven't really experienced too much, just because, you know, the market's kind of shifting a little bit and changing, but only one incident, I think, since this has all started.
And are you finding, so this is kind of maybe I guess that'll lead me into this question. Are you finding that maybe people are not filing claims right now, as maybe you're not getting the volume because they're just thinking, well, I can't file this claim right now anyways because nobody's going to come? Or are you finding people that are, maybe I'm home and now I have the time, and they're not thinking about maybe certain things? Have you seen any change in volume?
I feel like I'm on an uptick from it, because people are home and things are starting to not work. Mm-hmm. So they call. So I feel like it's kind of business as usual with the customer service side.
Keith, have you seen any changes in volume or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just as Margaret had stated, people are home now, so they're probably going to realize that they need to take care of some things. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that people are looking at this as an opportunity to take care of things that, you know, were problematic before. I'm hoping that most people are stepping in and realizing that certain things started to fail while they're at home, maybe didn't realize it beforehand. But maybe if they're also being practical in regards to what the failure is, because obviously certain claims are going to take a high precedent, which is going to be, you know, your heating. As we start to get into the warmer season, obviously the air conditioning, people have that, you know, or plumbing issues, which is of course still our number one call in, which is plumbing. But, you know, certain appliances, you know, we almost can't live without, you know, even a washer and dryer, you know, even though they're a modern convenience, you know, when you're stuck at home, you know, and you have children and you have family to take care of, you need those appliances to work. But, you know, obviously with that being said, that's where a lot of it has to be, you know, based on our contractor staff, you know, our service representatives out there. The good news is that when we're in this season, heating is obviously top priority. People are having problems with their furnace. That's being taken care of. That's like number one. That's just like when you sell a piece of real estate, you have to have some kind of heating for that particular piece of real estate. So that's always a number one precedent. Now, if it's something that could possibly wait a little bit longer, it's not going to be because we're trying to make it wait longer. It's just usually because of the service contractors or the staff. But those things such as like a dishwasher, washing machine, dryer, microwave, those things might be put quote unquote on the back burner, but not because of us, but because of the service contractors. Just like Margaret said, these are service contractors that also have to worry about the PPE when they go out into the field, because they're going to be in close contact with these homeowners. Most people don't leave their house for a contractor to come in and take care of these things. So it's just coordinating all those things. But luckily we work with a great field team that has, great presence and, a great respect for what's going on in the world right now. So they're taking every precaution, but they're also doing their jobs as efficiently and quickly as possible.
So that kind of answers one of my questions about delays and claims and things like that. What's been deemed, most important. Have you seen them? Have you seen anybody not deny any claims, but let people know that that's just not something they're going to come out and do yet? And are people receptive to that and understanding, or are you getting pushback on those types of things? If there are things that are just not being done yet.
I'll give you one issue I just had yesterday, a water heater issue. Was a tenant. The tenant didn't bother to call Fidelity, called the agent, called his friend first. His friend bought the piece and laid it next to him and said, you need to call someone to have it put in. So they start dilly-dallying with it, basically, third-party tampering. Then they call us when they're upset a week later, mad at me, right? And then we call in and the tech goes out and says somebody's already tampered with this. So it's really vital that the home warranty reps, we try to state this as much as possible to people. Please do not let your uncle, your brother, anybody touch something because it's called third-party tampering.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it gets denied. And we try so hard to tell people, don't touch it. Please call the 800 number. Let the technician touch it. Yeah. And it just happened. So, we try to work around these things, but sometimes we can't. And it happens more often than not. That's really usually when there's an issue, it's something like that.
Have you run into anything, Keith?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we definitely reach out to our agent partners and just remind them, that if they either negotiated getting a home warranty originally for that client, or they paid for it themselves, or the buyer paid for it, always remind them that they do have that protection is in place, that if something does fail, give us a call first, give home warranty a call first. And then that way we can decide. Sometimes we can determine over the phone if it's even a coverable item. And at that point, we turn them loose and say,
Very
sorry,
true.
It's not inside your plan. But if we get that first right of refusal, we get an opportunity to step in. It's just going to make the situation a lot better for everybody. And of course, the end game here is to make our agent partners look awesome. We want to step up and take care of them. We want to be there for them. So if you give us that opportunity to do that, I'm sure we will. We'll step up and do what we can. Probably the biggest thing that we're seeing in this time delay issue, or I wouldn't say denials, because again, denials are not based on circumstances within inside of our environment. So the denials are going to be based on the plan details, because we are governed by the state of California, the insurance commission. So again, we're always going to live to the letter of the law. Sometimes, we'll step up and help out more if we can. But what we're really having problems with is as everybody's in shutdown, so we have this huge amount of people staying at home, sheltering in place. That also means that certain people are not at work. What about those manufacturers? What about the people that are actually getting parts put into boxes and shipped out to either the contractor or even to the home? That's being delayed. So where we might need a $5 part, that you can't get at your local box store, you have to get it. And some of our places are on
Which
back
is
burners
distributor.
for that.
Yeah.
You know, so you have an appliance, it's typically an appliance or like a major system like a furnace that now we need a part for that we're having trouble getting, because you can't stock every single part for every single make and model of every single unit, no matter what industry you're in. So I think that's what's putting it as a postponement of the work being done as quickly as possible. And it's an unfortunate situation, you know, because if people are stuck in their home, they want their systems to work. They hopefully call the toll-free number first. And we get out there as quickly as we can, but then we find out that there's a part, you know, that's missing, or not missing, but obviously that's not working, that we need to get, and it takes a little bit longer to get it at this time.
Mm-hmm. And I asked this before, but you know, people seem to be pretty understanding of the times that it's going to take a little longer, and you guys are doing everything you can. You know, are you seeing, obviously homes probably aren't selling as quickly as they were before. Are you still seeing people purchasing new plans with the homes that are selling? So there's still confidence in purchasing those things?
Yeah, it seems like the vacant homes are going mighty fast. So I've you know, I mean, there's a little bit of a slowdown, but I really feel it's business as usual.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a place for sale right downstairs, and they've got all the car forms on the door, you know, to follow the COVID-19 rules. And as long as everybody's playing by the rules, there's transactions being done out there.
Yeah, transactions, I think, are again slowed down because of what we're dealing with locally and nationally. But luckily, we still have banks that are in business. We still have the monies, you know, title is still up and operational. You know, I think recording is probably one of the issues, you know, obviously when we have the local county workers. So some of that slowed down, but there's still obviously a high demand for property in the Bay Area. So we're lucky that that's where we were in a good solid market to begin with. I mean, we didn't even have enough supply beforehand. Now it's just harder just to get to that supply, which, you know, is what Margaret said, is, you know, with vacant homes, they can easily show. But my understanding last week is we only had like 80 vacant homes in the Bay Area, at least, you know, Santa Clara County area. Don't quote me on that, but that was my understanding. So those obviously have a quicker ability to turn around. And more so, you definitely would want a home warranty on a vacant home or something that you're taking over at this point. I think that if somebody's selling right now, or even any time for that matter, they should definitely be interested in having a home warranty put in place so they can walk away knowing that it's going to be taken care of. It's going to be covered. It's going to be protected. And that way, going through this, you know, litigious nightmare of a coronavirus, it can help offset that issue later on when they move into their house a month later, and then something starts to fail. So it's really important, you know, to always have a home warranty, but even more so now. When someone sells, they want to be done with that property. The listing agent, they want to be, you know, done with that to move on to another property. They don't want to be burdened by anything that's failing after the fact. So that's when home warranties can step in and help out, you know, help mitigate those potential losses.
When we were talking a little bit earlier, one of you mentioned policies that are up for expiration or have expired during COVID. And because we don't actually know when this is all going to be over, is there anything in particular that you're doing to help clients that may have started a claim, but because it's expiring, or how you're handling people that maybe aren't filing claims because they think that nothing's going to happen, so they just let everything expire, and then maybe they're not renewing. But are you guys helping?
We are helping. Basically, let's say they file a claim. You know, let's just put a scenario of a toilet's running or something. They put the claim in today, but they are very worried about somebody coming over into their home. They can delay it. As long as they put the claim in now, they can delay it to when they feel comfortable to have somebody coming into their home. So let's say it expires in the middle of it, as long as that contract was called in on a claim, we're okay with everything. So if it's 2 months down the road and they're like, okay, we'll have the guy come on over, we will take care of it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important that if
Yeah.
somebody is starting to experience a problem, raise your hand right away, call the toll-free number, because yeah, retroactively, it's going to be hard to do anything, so it's one of those things that, yes, they should definitely let us know. We as a company, we send out a 45-day notice before their plan is about to expire, to give them hopefully an ample amount of time to renew if they decide to renew. And if they're in the middle of that, then just what Margaret said is obviously we're going to take care of that claim that was brought up to our attention during their policy plan period. But if they want to renew, that's just going to be better for them going into the future months for sure. So they have that additional protection, because even when we come out and we take care of a claim, there's an additional 30-day rider that's on that issue. So we fix it, they get an additional 30 days blanket of protection. So let's say their plan expired this week, we took care of their toilet this week, and less than 30 days go by and they call us back for that, we'll obviously take care of it. That's one of the things that we put on the plate for them to protect them. But obviously after the 31st day, they're going to be without coverage. So it would definitely be practical if they do that. But obviously there are financial constraints and issues. Luckily when they go for renewal, they can set it up on a monthly plan where they can pay monthly. So they're not paying the big ticket price right at the beginning. So they have a little bit more flexibility as far as making sure that they have their protection, and hopefully at a cost factor that's comfortable for them at this time.
So you touched on something about payment plans, and something maybe that the agents can share with their clients, or maybe that you guys have shared with customers directly. If someone is directly affected by COVID financially and they are on a payment plan, are the companies able to offer any type of relief for that? Or I know that these are contracts, so there's dedicated periods you can't really add on to the end of maybe a contract for payments, but is there anything financially to help people that are on payment plans?
That's a good question. I'd have to go back and ask my manager because I couldn't speak for the company.
That's fair.
I mean, I can go back and get that answer for you, and Keith can, but I would feel more comfortable having a real answer from somebody at a higher level. Like if they freeze it or something, yeah. And kind of like the same thing, if you could, almost like the moratorium on paying rent, like do you freeze it for 3 months and then give them that additional 3 months? We haven't had that meeting yet. So that's something to bring up because we're going to have another meeting, I think in 2 days. So I'll get that answer.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, keep in mind that it's like an insurance product. It's actually a service
Mm-hmm.
contract, and it's governed by the insurance commission. And when we actually receive funds from a policy, say it's, $500 when it closes escrow today, we actually we're not allowed to physically take that $500 and spend it towards anything. Not for
exactly
any cost, not for anything. We actually only can take 1/12 of it. So every single month, because again, it's like an insurance product. So we have to pay out to claims. We have to have money that's available and money that's there for when claims do come in. So yeah, as far as at the end user, the plan holder, the first year is always paid in advance. Future years, you can usually get a payment plan.
Got it.
But as of right now, this would probably be like the last thing. I mean, just me personally looking at the national level, is probably just like most insurance products. It's probably the last thing that's going to be looked at to have any type of kind of subsidy or offsetting or anything else. Because unfortunately, home warranties still are considered a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
It is a luxury to have that additional protection. Not like car insurance, which is mandated. Homeowners insurance policy that's mandated if you have a loan on your property. So these types of things that are not mandated probably won't have some kind of
We probably couldn't
forbearance.
be able to do it, yeah, because of the insurance commission, most
Yeah,
likely.
well, yeah, not only that, but just again, if you look at it and say, okay, well, if even if it was had some kind of forbearance, not even a complete forgiveness, that forbearance is now putting that insurance company at risk, because now
Mm.
how can they pay claims? How can they even have money? And how can they make good, on that? So that would just be my personal take on it,
No,
even
and
though
I
I'm a
agree with
licensed
you.
agent.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
I would just say that that's probably not something, but again, it's a case by case basis. I mean, obviously, if a policyholder has an issue and they're going into renewal, they should always call our company and, ask, see what can be done.
Mhm.
They might be told, unfortunately, there
Yeah,
is
you don't
nothing that
know.
can be done, you know, or unfortunately, they might just have to put that month on a credit card, and, postpone that
Yeah.
payment for, 30 days or longer, pay a little bit of interest. That's just my 2 cents on it.
So this is a complete what if question, but this totally popped in my head, Margaret, when you were talking about someone's got a toilet running, and that seems like a relatively, in theory, minor issue. But because people may be delaying having someone to come and look at something because they don't want people in their house right now, or maybe the plumbing company says, oh, the toilet's just running, we'll look at it in a month when things are better. Are there any concerns with those small problems then turning into bigger underlying, because there isn't a bigger underlying problem, and this turning into something a lot different?
Well, it's not the technician that would be saying, we'll see you in a month. It's usually the homeowner that
Right.
says, we're afraid to let somebody in our home. So, then they'd have to shut that water off, right, to that part of the house. But, that's their discretion. If they don't want somebody to come, then, we can't do anything about it. But we do dispatch, just like any other company,
Okay.
a company that will come out and fix that problem immediately. We're not going to hold off on our end.
Okay.
That scenario is really for somebody that says, we're too frightened to have anybody coming into our home.
And if that happens and it turns into a bigger issue, I guess that's where I'm just wondering is should people come in and say, yes, please do make the repairs to my home, because that's as hard as it is, that's what we need to do to protect our homes, and then it turns into something bigger. I guess that's what I'm wondering is will the home protection insurance plans cover when it was this small that was reported, and now you've flooded out an entire bathroom? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, every case is completely different, and that's kind of like a hearsay question of, you don't want something to happen like that. If I got on the phone, I would probably convince the homeowner to go to the back of the house while the guy's there fixing it, and stay there until he's done. Because you want situations like that fixed immediately. And we have not had anybody cancel anything. They're usually like, we need somebody out right now. So I just can't see that happening unless, we try to convince them, look, leave the house, go walk around the block, whatever you have to do. If you're really that nervous about having someone enter your home, they're going to have all the protective gear on. They've got all the cleaning supplies. They've got everything to make sure that they're not going to leave any kind of, basically a footprint, so to speak. I just don't see that happening.
And I know that was totally hypothetical
Yeah.
But
I don't think I would let that happen, is what I'm saying. If I had control over it, I don't think I would let that happen. I would convince them to get it fixed, because you don't want a big can of worms at the end of it.
Right.
Well, it just goes back to the original point, which is, raise your hand and be heard now. If you do have an issue, you should call us first, and then we can work that out, but to your point, Jody, is obviously anything left unattended for any length of time could always cause, more and more damage or be a further perpetual problem, and I think that's just what we deal with, as homeowners. And when we, don't take care of certain things, so lack of maintenance and, deferred maintenance and those types of things aren't even covered under, home warranty, just like extraneous damage, that's caused, say, like for that running toilet that, unfortunately maybe was
Mold.
seeping out,
Yeah.
rolling around on the floor for weeks or months or years, who knows, that additional damage, wouldn't even be covered. That's a homeowner's insurance benefit that would usually be kicked in depending on, again, what the problem was. So therein lies kind of the two sides of those protection plans. One is your homeowner's insurance for perils, and then of course the home warranty that will actually fix most of those issues and take care of them. So like water heater is a perfect example. Water heater, causes extraneous damage to the structure. Well, you call your homeowner's insurance, they'll usually do some kind of water remediation, and you call us and we'll actually repair or replace that water heater. And those two things working together. But like homeowner's insurance wouldn't take care of taking care of the actual hot water or the water heater. They wouldn't be repairing that or replacing that. They'd say you're on your own for that. And just like home warranty won't step in and say we'll take care of all that additional damage that was caused by
we won't.
the water heater. So those two things do definitely work hand in hand, and for any people that have second homes, or if they have a rental property, home warranties are great add-ons to that, because usually their homeowner's insurance is just for, again, perils. But then what if the upkeep or something fails, then the home warranty will step in and take care of that issue, that appliance or that system. So it's definitely good to have the both of them, so whether you own your house, completely free and clear, no mortgage on it, you probably should still have homeowner's insurance. I mean, I probably would never own a property without homeowner's insurance. That protects you for the structure burning down or having some other peril. And then same thing with the home warranty, because it can step up and save thousands of dollars. But again, notify a home warranty company right away if there is something. And then, of course, if there's some kind of issue, logistics with either the homeowner or the contractor, we'll work and coordinate that to make sure that we can put those things together. And that's the other good thing about having a home warranty is we're a mediator there. So, I mean, right now, if somebody is on their own, they don't have a home warranty, who are they going to call? They got to go to Yelp, they got to look on the internet, and then they're kind of left all by themselves. Like, who am I going to call? Now, with a home warranty, they know they just call one phone number, and if worst case scenario, it's not a coverable item, then they're kind of on their own in that regard. But if not, 85% of the time, a home warranty is going to step in and do some kind of protection.
Thank you. I'd like to open it up. Sorry, my security is going off over here.
Intruder.
Before, I'd like to open it up for questions, but Margaret or Keith, do you have any last minute things that you'd like to share with the group? And then I'd like to open it up for questions. So if you've got a question, you can raise your hand in the chat box. We'll take some questions. Otherwise, Keith, I'll start with you if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the one big thing that we do for our agent partners is that we want to make sure that we're there for them, not only through this crisis, but just general deals that are happening, just general problems and issues that happen with being in the real estate arena. Right now, if you go to our website, and we have this little thing here, let's see if I can see the Thriving Inside. You see it right there? So we have a cool little pamphlet that our agent partners can download. It talks about sheltering in place. What can you do to not make it so monotonous? Before this call, Margaret was sharing with us, some of the wonderful things she's doing, some of the things I'm doing, obviously shaving my head, things that we can do while we're thriving inside. So that's one thing that we definitely want to make sure that we're there to protect our real estate partners. The other thing that if somebody sends me an email, I'm sending out, so send an email to keithb@orhp.com, but we get these little hand sanitizer spray bottles, and it's Together We Can with this lanyard, and I'll send that out to my agent partners. Just send me an email to keithb@orhp, and I'll send you a box of the hand sanitizers, the lanyard, maybe even some other thriving at home stuff to help get you by. But, we're obviously here for you. Home warranty is here for you, and we can be here still for you virtually as well.
Margaret?
Yeah, we're open. So I don't want people to think, don't call. I have been getting calls like that from people going, are you guys even still working?
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to let everybody know we are open for business. Claims are 24/7. I just found out our customer service team is 7 to 5 a.m. I have not had any problems calling customer service or the order department. They can go online to homewarranty.com. They can call me, they can email me. We're here for you. We just want everybody to stay safe, and we're here for you.
And I think that's really why I wanted to bring you guys on, because, you know, there's a lot of questions about what's essential, what's not essential, what can you do, and you can't start new projects. But I really wanted people to know that when it comes to home warranty, when it comes to those plans that you have, and when something goes wrong with your house, you need to fix it, and that you guys are there for your customers still, and you guys are still open for business, and that you're taking care of you know, your agent clients and their clients as well. So does anybody have any? Sorry, go ahead.
Like he said in the beginning, you know, we're an extension, to our agent, and we really want to take care of their client, because when it's all said and done, we want that client to have a great relationship with them. We want to make sure things are fixed right, so they can go back out and sell that house.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we are an extension. I know, you know, we're an affiliate, and, you know, everybody wants to know what's going on with the lending industry, but, you know, when you really think about it, people are home now and things need to get repaired. And that's why we're here. You know, no matter who you use, Home Guard, us, you know, Old Republic, we're all here. We're all in the same boat.
Yep. So I'll just take a minute, if anybody has any questions, if you want to put anything in the, a question came in. Does home warranty cover home elevator?
No, I'm sorry, it doesn't. So there's not a provision in there for elevator. So I apologize, it does not.
Now, what if, you know, now my mind's going with home elevator, but what about the stair ones, or would that be covered, I guess, from the company that did it? The ones where you sit and go up?
Yeah, just like the big thing right now is solar. So a lot of people are, again, questioning, you know, what about solar? You know, and that's just going to be bigger and bigger, you know, year after year. And not even so much in our market, but it is. A solar is typically warranted by the manufacturer, the contractor that actually did the original installation. So, and like even fire suppression systems with inside homes, you know, those are covered by outside vendors, because that's specifically what they do, and they're there for that. Whether they are 5 years or 10 years, it's unfortunate, but that's just the truth of the industry right now. Now, if those things start to become widespread, whether it's a staircase, elevator, or you know, any of those systems, you know, those might come in the future, but as of right now, no, those are by outside contractors. That's specifically usually what they do.
So then another question from Kathy. She says, for a currently owned home, can a homeowner purchase a home warranty policy on a property that is currently owner occupied and will become a rental property?
Yes. And that's a D2C. That's a 30-day hold, because it's not going through escrow. If it's not involving the sale of a home. So they would have a 30-day wait, and then it would start on that 31st day.
Okay.
Yeah. And
anybody can buy one.
Yeah. Old Republic's a little bit different. We don't sell to the general public, so we would just make sure that we attach it to a real estate partner. Hopefully the referring agent or the agent that got them into the deal. If they don't have an agent partner that they can recommend, then we would just find a local agent that we would put them together, because that's a little bit different. We always make sure that there's an agent partner relationship. So, but then what Margaret said, there is a 30-day wait if it doesn't go through escrow. So escrow would be either, you know, refinancing it. They could get a home warranty without any wait, or if it's going through a traditional sale, either resale or new construction.
Okay.
Yeah, and then basically we don't need a partnership at all. I can, you know, I'm renting right now. I can call my landlord and say, buy one. So anybody can buy one at any time.
Okay. Yep, and we asked for your contact information. So, like I said in the beginning, this is being recorded, and when I send out the recording to everybody, I'll make sure to include their contact information so that you have it. I see Keith as his name is his email address, and then I'll get that over to you guys and also for Margaret. And if there's no other questions, we'll wrap up a little bit early. I just want to thank both of you. You know, we may do this again in a little bit just to see if there's any updates on anything. But thank you, Keith and Margaret, so much for joining us. And if there's any last minute questions, you can always email education@score.com and we can get those over to Keith and Margaret.